They torched $400,000 worth of my corn at 5 in the damn morning. No warning. Just the sound of chainsaws slicing through the air while I'm pouring my first cup of coffee, thinking today might finally be a good one. Out the kitchen window, there she is, Brenda Thornfield, our HOA president, if you can call her that, revving an orange chainsaw in a spotless white pantsuit, looking like she's about to film a car commercial, except she's carving up 3 years of my irrigation system like it's just some wrapping paper. Diesel spilling out everywhere, mixing with the dew. But what really did it, what finally cracked something loose inside me, was when she dragged herself up onto my grandfather's old John Deere, the one he bought new in '62, and went at the engine block with a sledgehammer. 23 swings, I counted. Then, still in that white suit, she lights a road flare and chucks it into the diesel-soaked cornfield. Boom! Flames rip through 1,000 acres that were supposed to send my boy to college. She filmed the whole thing, sipping from a world's best HOA president mug, while my life burned behind her. Yeah, that happened. What would you have done if they torched your future for the sake of a couple more McMansions? Let me back up a sec, because people always ask how the hell something like this gets started. I'm Jackson Hartwell, third generation to work this Nebraska dirt. My granddad homesteaded these 1,200 acres in 1923, back when a handshake was a contract and neighbors didn't sue each other over the smell of corn. 2 years back, cancer took my wife, Sarah, and the routine of the farm, the sunrises, the coffee, the quiet, that's what kept me moving. My daughter Emma's off at college for agribusiness. Tyler's still in high school, but runs the combine like he was born in it. This land isn't just our living, it's our damn identity. Things started to shift when Sunset Ridge popped up along our border, a luxury subdivision for folks fleeing California. 37 look-alike palaces, HOA included. Most kept to themselves. But then Brenda arrived, fresh off a Malibu divorce, Tesla Model X, enough outfits to never repeat a look, and inside 6 months she'd bulldozed her way to HOA president. Her main campaign? Wipe out rural eyesores to juice property values. First shot she fired, a certified letter, agricultural odor violation. Claimed my manure fertilizer was a constitutional offense. Wanted $500 a day penalties unless I stopped. So I call her up, tell her this was farmland before her subdivision even existed, and she purrs back with, "We're curating a lifestyle community, Mr. Hartwell. Your agrarian activities are incompatible with our investment portfolio." Agrarian activities, like I'm running a meth lab. And here's where it got legal. Some bureaucrat had roped my property into the HOA map by mistake. The last owner never even read the papers. Now, thanks to one lazy signature, I'm legally trapped in Brenda's spiderweb. My lawyer says, unless I can prove fraud, their rules are binding. So the neighborhood split. My real neighbors, the folks who grew up here, stood by me, but half the new villa crowd thought Brenda was a hero. The mayor tried to play nice, but everybody was afraid of lawsuits. Then Brenda got creative. She started showing up at my fence line with measuring tapes, a camera crew, even a photographer who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. They cataloged everything: corn height, tractor location, even what time I started my chores. The real kicker? Her husband, Terry, got caught sneaking through my soybeans with surveying equipment at 2 a.m. When I called him on it, he mumbled something about nocturnal compliance checks before bolting for their Tesla. After that, my border collie Rex developed a sixth sense for white Teslas. Neighborhood kids turned it into a running joke. Brenda alert. But the truth is, Brenda was drowning in debt, and my land stood between her and financial ruin. 3 weeks after that first violation letter, she turned up with her measuring stick and a professional photographer, announcing my corn was too tall for the community's scenic vistas. Handed me a 72-hour deadline to cut all the stalks down to 6 feet, or face $1,000 a day fines. That night, I dug through Sarah's boxes and found Nebraska's Right to Farm Act, ironclad protection for legacy farms. I filed a counter-complaint, installed security cameras, and waited. Good thing I did. 3 nights later, my cameras caught a white Tesla creeping through my fields, systematically flattening $3,000 worth of soybeans. Next morning, I show Brenda the footage while she's power washing her Tesla in designer jeans, and she deadpants. Perhaps you should consider growing shorter vegetables. Her insurance company refused to pay. Intentional property damage isn't covered, they said. Suddenly, Brenda's bulletproof shield vanished. That's when the tide started to turn. The Murphys started a Facebook group for local farmers. 400 members in a week. My border collie, Rex, went viral. The kids made a Rex Alert app that tracked Brenda's Tesla sightings, and he got a sponsorship for farm dog treats. Messages rolled in from farmers everywhere. Same HOA nightmares, same tactics. My big break came when I got a county zoning investigator involved. Turns out, the courts had already set precedent. HOAs can't just annex legacy farmland. My family's 1923 homestead documents and 75 years of continuous AG use made my case bulletproof, the investigator said. But I wasn't about to nuke the whole HOA. Some of those folks were good people caught in Brenda's scheme. Then Brenda played her hand. She called an emergency HOA meeting to ban all AG equipment within 500 feet of a residence, right before harvest, with $400,000 of corn in the field. If I couldn't use my gear, I'd lose the whole crop. When I pointed out that federal law protects farm equipment noise, she just smiled and said, "Perhaps you should whisper to your crops, Mr. Hartwell." But her little coup got nuked when Martha Kowalski stood up and dropped the bomb. Brenda owed $2.3 million in California and was using the HOA to force me off my land, so she could sell to developers for a kickback. The room went ice cold. The ban failed, board members started defecting, and Brenda, in a rage, called us peasants and stormed out. That should have ended it. Instead, Brenda doubled down. She hired Blackstone Security, 6 rent-a-cops in tactical gear, who rolled up at sunrise, threatened to throw me off my land under HOA emergency powers. The Murphy kids live-streamed the standoff. Within minutes, 30 locals arrived, blocking the mercenaries. Sheriff Bradley showed up, gave them 60 seconds to leave or face arrest. They left, but not before Brenda arrived, screaming for the world to hear, "You backward peasants are destroying property values with your poverty farming." The video went viral. Millions watched her meltdown. Meanwhile, I kept digging. I found proof Brenda had faked the HOA boundary maps. Original documents clearly excluded my land, but her copy showed otherwise. Sarah, my late wife, had circled the fraud in red ink years ago, warning it was probably mail fraud. I handed it all to my lawyer and to the feds. Turns out, Brenda's scheme was bigger than we thought. She borrowed $600,000 from California investors, promising to force AG land into development. My farm was her linchpin. No conversion, no payday. The town council meeting was standing room only, TV crews everywhere. I watched Brenda strut in like she still owned the room. But when my lawyer laid out the evidence, fraud, forgery, bribery, the whole mess, even her attorney looked sick. The judge dissolved the HOA's claim on my property, nullified all actions against me. Then FBI agents stepped up and arrested Brenda on federal charges, fraud, racketeering, you name it. She went down screaming about property values while the town cheered. The aftermath was a mess. Villa properties flooded when I exercised my water rights. My grandfather's 1923 claim meant I controlled every drop going to their development. Construction crews pulled out. Villa owners who'd backed Brenda tried to sell. Property values plummeted. Our county started an AG defense fund, passed new protections, and made sure no other family could get blindsided by a rogue HOA. Rex got the key to the city, no joke, and his own merchandise line. My kids, Emma and Tyler, are building their own future on this land, blending old-school grit with new ideas. I even married Martha, right there in the cornfield. Brenda? She got 15 years in federal prison and $4 million in restitution. Her villa bulldozed and replanted with native wildflowers. My story kicked off a movement. Federal investigations in a dozen states, new laws to protect family farms, and, maybe most important, a sense that rural America wasn't going to be steamrolled by suburban bullies anymore. Every morning, walking through my fields with Rex at my side, I remember that justice only happens when good people stand their ground. Property rights matter. So does community. You ever have to fight suburban terrorism wrapped in HOA bylaws? Drop your story in the comments. You never know who you might help by speaking up. And if you care about real justice, stick around, because next week, I'll tell you how a retired librarian used medieval land laws to save our county cemetery from a casino bulldozer.